A new report from Punchbowl News says that Amazon is looking to avoid the blame for raising prices as a result of President Trump's new tariff.
But I imagine you do when it comes to tariffs.
We look at all the things that could impact consumers and customers.
The decision by Amazon CEO to relocate the company's headquarters outside of the United States is significant not only for the world's largest online retailer, but also for the changing landscape of global commerce. This bold move, announced after the incoming administration imposed sweeping new tariffs, highlights the vulnerability of international trade ties when political winds shift. Amazon's sprawling campus in the Pacific Northwest has been plunged into uncertainty, casting doubt on its future role as a hub for innovation and employment. Employees who once celebrated the company's rapid growth are now faced with the prospect of uprooting their lives or looking for new opportunities. The announcement reverberates far beyond the technology sector, as governments and commercial partners scramble to assess the broader economic fallout and rethink their approaches to dealing with one of the world's most powerful corporations. Before we begin, please click the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. At the heart of the upheaval is the newly elected administration's aggressive trade policy. Tariffs, once a tool used sparingly, are now being used with unprecedented force against a diverse group of America's trading partners. The administration has attempted to boost domestic manufacturing by imposing steep tariffs on goods imported from key allies and long-term partners. However, the unintended consequence has been an increase in costs for international buyers, eroding exporters' competitive advantage. As prices rise and logistics chains buckle under the weight of new customs duties, global businesses are forced to consider the true cost of sourcing from the American economy. Tariffs pose an existential threat to behemoths like Amazon, whose core competency is streamlined international supply networks. The announcement that Amazon CEO will lead the charge to relocate the company's headquarters abroad reflects a deep disillusionment with the direction of U.S. economic policy. Although major corporations have long navigated shifting regulatory tides, the scope and speed of these new trade barriers have caught many off guard. Executives at Amazon's various divisions have had to face a sobering reality in boardrooms and strategy sessions. Even the most resilient corporation cannot completely protect itself from the whims of geopolitical strategy. Relocating operations overseas is a drastic step, but Amazon's leadership believes it is the only viable way to maintain the company's ability to serve its global customer base at competitive prices. Choosing the location for Amazon's new headquarters has been a strategic decision influenced by a variety of factors. A country with favorable corporate tax structures, strong technological infrastructure, and a stable political environment quickly rose to the top of the rankings. Proximity to major manufacturing hubs was another important consideration to ensure that the flow of products from factories to fulfillment centers remains largely uninterrupted. Local labor markets, educational institutions, and quality of life metrics all played a significant role in the decision. The chosen country is now poised to reap significant benefits from hosting Amazon's next chapter. From the creation of tens of thousands of high-skilled jobs to increased investment in real estate and related services, the consequences of Amazon's departure go far beyond corporate boardrooms and large-scale financial statements. The impact on the city, which has long been associated with the tech titan, is profound. Small businesses that relied on Amazon's workforce for patronage are now facing revenue declines. Real estate markets, once buoyed by the influx of well-paid engineers and managers, are bracing for a possible downturn. Municipal budgets that benefited from the company's tax contributions must now prepare for reduced revenues or seek alternative funding sources. The ripple effects will be felt in schools, public services, and infrastructure projects that rely on Amazon's continued presence. On the national level, policymakers face a stark reminder of the delicate balance between protectionism and competitiveness. The administration's goal of protecting American industries with tariffs has clashed with the realities of global supply chains and consumer demands. As Amazon prepares to plant its flag on foreign soil, concerns have been raised about the long-term viability of a trade policy that prioritizes short-term political gains over long-term economic partnerships. Critics of the tariffs claim that they have alienated key allies and given ground to rival economic blocs eager to fill the void left by the withdrawal of American influence. From an international standpoint, the arrival of Amazon's leadership and significant operations is a major coup for the host country. The move communicates to other multinational corporations that there are viable alternatives to operating in the United States. Governments seeking to attract foreign direct investment will step up efforts to create enticing incentive packages, streamline regulatory processes, and highlight their own stable trade relationships. In effect, Amazon's relocation may usher in a new era of competition among nations vying to host global corporations' headquarters, with each offering its own set of financial incentives, talent pools, and infrastructure benefits. As the practicalities of relocation begin, Amazon's logistical network faces one of its most severe tests yet. The company's well-known fulfillment and distribution system, which is praised for its speed and efficiency, must be redesigned to align with new import-export channels. Warehouses will be repurposed, shipping lanes rearranged, and partnerships renegotiated. For employees stationed in overseas facilities, the announcement has sparked excitement and palpable anticipation. New hires queue for training programs, local vendors prepare to expand capacity, and regional governments roll out the red carpet to welcome the influx. However, the transition must be handled with surgical precision to avoid disruptions that could harm the brand's reputation for dependability. Internally, the company culture is being managed with care. Amazon takes pride in a set of leadership principles that have helped it grow from a startup to a trillion-dollar company. Maintaining employee morale during such a seismic shift is no easy task, but town halls, Q&A sessions, and personalized outreach can help ensure that everyone feels informed and valued. At the same time, teams are encouraged to seize the opportunity for growth and innovation that a new environment provides. Cross-cultural training programs are being implemented to foster mutual understanding among international employees, while remote work policies are being developed to accommodate employees who prefer to remain in the United States. The rest of the business world is paying close attention as Amazon follows through on its plan for a seamless transition. For suppliers of everything from electronics to apparel, realigning order flows presents both challenges and opportunities. Some will benefit from streamlined access to emerging markets, while others will face the logistical challenges of redirecting shipments. Consulting firms and trade experts are inundated with requests to assist businesses in adapting to the changing landscape, providing guidance on tariff mitigation strategies, alternative sourcing, and compliance frameworks. The financial markets have reacted similarly to the news. Amazon's stock price, which initially fluctuated as investors digested the implications of the move, stabilized as more information about the company's plans for a phased relocation became available. Analysts have adjusted their models to account for potential tax benefits, operational efficiencies, and long-term growth prospects in the new host country. While some critics warn of reputational damage and the risk of alienating U.S. consumers, leading market observers agree that Amazon's decisive action strengthens resilience and adaptability. The human aspect of this story cannot be overstated. Thousands of employees, many of whom have spent years advancing their careers in the United States, are now faced with life-altering choices. Some will choose to relocate with the company, enticed by generous relocation packages and the prospect of a new beginning. Others will choose to remain and pursue new opportunities closer to home. Support programs have been implemented to help with visa applications, housing searches, and cultural adjustment. Career counseling services are available to those who choose to stay behind, ensuring that their skills remain in demand in the local job market. As word of the relocation spreads through international media, it sparks a broader discussion about the changing nature of corporate citizenship. In a new era when national borders can no longer contain global corporations' ambitions, leaders are reconsidering the traditional contract between businesses and the societies in which they operate. Amazon's move calls into question the notion that a single headquarters is inextricably linked to corporate success. It prompts a rethinking of how businesses assess their responsibilities to stakeholders, ranging from employees and customers to governments and communities in which they operate. The timing of the announcement, following a presidential election that surprised many observers, emphasizes the interplay between politics and commerce. It demonstrates how quickly corporate strategies can be disrupted by changes in the political climate. Boardrooms around the world are taking note, reassessing risk matrices and contingency plans to ensure they are ready for unexpected regulatory shifts. For governments, the lesson is obvious. Cultivating a favorable business environment necessitates consistency and foresight, or they risk alienating key contributors to economic growth. Amazon's expansion into a new jurisdiction is likely to pave the way for new innovations. Without some of the constraints imposed by the tariff regime, the company can invest in advanced logistics technologies, R&D initiatives, and partnerships that were previously hampered by cost considerations. The new headquarters is expected to become a global center of excellence, recruiting talent from across continents and encouraging cross-pollination among diverse teams. Even as Amazon begins this new chapter, the story remains unfinished. The relocation will take months, if not years, as the company balances its commitments to current customers and employees with the need to chart a sustainable path forward. Governments in Washington will have to deal with the political fallout of what many will interpret as a rebuke of domestic policy. Trade alliances may be reshaped as countries adapt to the changing landscape of American corporate presence, and the global economy will continue to adapt, seeking new equilibrium following one of the decade's most consequential corporate decisions. From the perspective of global supply chains, Amazon's decision to move away from the United States represents a seismic shift. Companies that previously relied on distribution centers in the United States must rethink their logistics strategies. The transition to new fulfillment hubs in Europe, Asia, or other rapidly developing markets is more than just redirecting shipping lanes. It necessitates a complete overhaul of inventory management, demand forecasting, and last-mile delivery networks. Following the announcement, software engineers and operations researchers are working to improve the algorithms that underpin Amazon's well-known inventory optimization systems, taking into account longer lead times and diverse regulatory environments. Traditional models based on the predictability of U.S. domestic freight must now account for a mosaic of border inspections, customs procedures, and fluctuating import duties imposed by various national authorities. Simultaneously, Amazon's vendor ecosystem is venturing into unknown territory. Thousands of small and medium-sized businesses, which used to benefit from the ease of shipping products into a single tariff-protected market, now face layered cost structures. Those who manufacture goods in Southeast Asia may find it more cost-effective to route products through the company's new logistical nerve center rather than through U.S. ports. This shift prompts a rethinking of manufacturing footprints. Some vendors may prefer to relocate production closer to Amazon's new operations, while others look into nearshoring options in neighboring regions to reduce transit times. Supply chain finance strategies will also need to evolve, as letters of credit and trade financing instruments are redesigned to accommodate different banking systems and exchange rate hedging requirements. On the digital front, Amazon's data infrastructure is about to undergo transformation. The company's cloud computing arm, which had massive data centers in the United States, is now considering expanding into new markets. Establishing secure, high-capacity data hubs near emerging customer bases is critical not only for maintaining performance standards, but also for complying with data sovereignty laws, which differ dramatically across jurisdictions. Data scientists and security architects work together to ensure that customer information, such as purchase histories and payment credentials, is protected under a network of international privacy regulations. The transition necessitates strong encryption protocols, localized backup strategies, and the negotiation of cross-border data transfer agreements that are compliant with corporate policy and host country legislation. Retail partners and brick-and-mortar affiliates are also at an inflection point. For years, companies in industries such as groceries, apparel, and consumer electronics have used Amazon's U.S.-centric distribution network to provide fast delivery services. Collaboration programs such as Ship From Store and Amazon Go must now adapt to a more diverse geospatial framework. Retailers with national footprints in the countries hosting Amazon's new headquarters can expect deeper integration with the platform, whereas those focused primarily on the U.S. market must seek alternative partnerships or develop in-house logistics capabilities. This dynamic may encourage the rise of regional e-commerce champions as local players step forward to fill gaps in the American ecosystem. The financial architecture that underpins Amazon's global operations will also undergo significant revision. Corporate treasurers must reconsider foreign exchange risk management as revenues and expenses fluctuate between currencies. Profits earned abroad must be repatriated in accordance with each jurisdiction's tax codes, necessitating sophisticated structuring to maximize liquidity while avoiding prohibitive tax liabilities. Financial analysts examine scenarios to weigh the costs of offshore financing against the potential benefits, keeping track of interest rate differentials and sovereigns' credit ratings. Furthermore, credit facilities and debt instruments that were previously denominated solely in US dollars will be supplemented by euro, pound, yen, or renminbi-denominated bonds, indicating a rebalanced capital strategy appropriate for a truly multinational enterprise. Corporate governance will undergo equally profound changes. Amazon's board of directors, which has historically been steeped in U.S. legal tradition, is expected to expand to include experts in international corporate law and multinational regulatory compliance. New audit committees will oversee cross-border tax strategies as well as regionally specific environmental, social, and governance (ESG) standards. Stakeholder engagement takes on a new dimension as Amazon balances the expectations of institutional investors in the United States with those of sovereign wealth funds and private equity partners in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Shareholder meetings may alternate between continents, demonstrating the company's commitment to its global constituency. Labor relations also emerge as a critical frontier. While Amazon has struggled with unionization and labor rights advocacy in the United States, its international expansion presents a mosaic of legal frameworks governing worker protections, collective bargaining, and employment benefits. Each new host country introduces its own set of norms. Some require profit-sharing schemes or strong worker councils, whereas others provide more flexible contractual arrangements. Amazon's human resources leaders must create compensation and benefits packages that are both locally competitive and consistent with the company's global philosophy. Training programs for facility staff will need to be translated and culturally tailored, as will leadership development tracks, in order to foster talent in a variety of settings. In terms of sustainability, Amazon's migration presents new opportunities and challenges. The environmental impact of global shipping has long been a source of contention, and reorienting distribution flows can either exacerbate or reduce carbon emissions depending on how they are implemented. The company has committed to deploying electric delivery fleets and investing in renewable energy for its fulfillment centers. However, achieving these goals in emerging markets with limited infrastructure necessitates strategic collaboration with local utilities and vehicle manufacturers. Renewable energy credits and carbon offset schemes must be negotiated per country in accordance with both Amazon's own shipment zero goals and the host country's climate commitments under the Paris Agreement. Marketing strategies must adapt to reach new core audiences. Although Amazon's brand is widely recognized, the nuances of consumer behavior differ greatly across cultures. To align with regional preferences, the marketing team must recalibrate messaging, which includes localizing language and imagery, as well as respecting cultural norms surrounding shopping occasions and promotional calendars. Product recommendations generated by machine learning algorithms will be retrained to reflect regional tastes and purchasing habits. Loyalty programs may evolve into variations with localized rewards, such as partnerships with popular regional retailers or cultural event sponsorships, increasing engagement with customers who were previously outside Amazon's immediate orbit. Meanwhile, the competitive landscape will realign. Rival e-commerce giants in Europe and Asia will see Amazon's move as both an opportunity and a threat. In regions where Amazon establishes deeper roots, competitors may be forced to innovate aggressively, leveraging their existing local expertise to carve out distinct services such as faster delivery, niche product curation, or immersive retail experiences. Rising domestic platforms in the United States, on the other hand, may take advantage of the perceived vacuum left by Amazon's reduced presence by accelerating partnerships with third-party logistics providers and exploring new omnichannel models to win over consumers looking for alternatives. Investors, corporate analysts, and economic forecasters will monitor Amazon's performance through two lenses. financial metrics related to its legacy U.S. operations, and growth indicators emerging from new hubs. Quarterly earnings calls may include segmented reporting, which separates revenue and operating margins by region. Wall Street analysts will focus on metrics like fulfillment cost per parcel, international Prime subscription growth, and cross-border versus domestic sales ratios. Equity research teams will modify their valuation models to account for geopolitical risk premiums, learning curves in new markets, and the capital costs required to build or retrofit infrastructure abroad. Educational institutions and research organizations are also expected to benefit from Amazon's migration. Universities near the new headquarters anticipate an increase in research funding, internships, and collaborative labs focusing on cutting-edge fields such as robotics, artificial intelligence, and supply chain analytics. Faculty recruitment may ramp up as the company seeks local academic partnerships to fuel innovation pipelines. Doctoral candidates and postdoctoral researchers who gain access to Amazon's data and technological resources may accelerate advances in machine learning and logistics automation, resulting in a virtuous cycle of talent development and corporate R&D. The legal profession is at the forefront of shaping Amazon's future. International trade lawyers, corporate tax experts, and antitrust specialists will help the company navigate the maze of local regulations, laying the groundwork for everything from corporate entity formation to compliance with new e-commerce laws. In jurisdictions where competition authorities aggressively scrutinize market dominance, Amazon's counsel must be prepared to defend against potential investigations and adapt business practices to uphold fair trading principles. Intellectual property portfolios will be tailored to each territory, ensuring that patents, trademarks, and licensing agreements protect the company's proprietary technologies and brands globally. From a technological standpoint, Amazon's movement accelerates the integration of edge computing, robotics, and artificial intelligence to meet the demands of disparate environments. The robotics teams that pioneered automated picking and packing in the United States will now tailor solutions to various warehouse sizes, local labor markets, and climate conditions. Edge computing solutions will be critical in regions with intermittent power or unreliable connectivity, allowing on-site processors to manage operations autonomously in sync with central systems when bandwidth is available. These innovations not only strengthen Amazon's operational resilience, but also generate technological spillovers that other industries can benefit from. Community engagement efforts will shift into a new phase. In the United States, Amazon has backed educational initiatives, community grants, and workforce development programs. As the company's focus shifts overseas, philanthropic strategies will be refocused to meet local needs, ranging from digital literacy campaigns to environmental conservation projects. Corporate social responsibility teams will collaborate with local NGOs and civic bodies to tailor impact programs, ensuring that investments in community welfare are meaningful in each sociocultural context. These endeavors serve not only altruistic purposes, but also foster goodwill among stakeholders in the regions that now house Amazon's heartbeat. As Amazon grows in size, supply chain transparency and ethical sourcing practices become increasingly important. Consumers are increasingly demanding transparency into where and how products are manufactured, with concerns ranging from labor standards to environmental stewardship. Amazon's procurement standards will be harmonized globally to ensure consistent ethical benchmarks while also accommodating regional certification systems such as Fairtrade, Rainforest Alliance, and locally recognized eco-labels. Blockchain pilots and other traceability technologies may be expanded to provide end-to-end visibility for high-priority product lines, thereby strengthening consumer trust and brand integrity. Within the realm of employee experience, Amazon's Relocation prompts a wave of reflection on work models and cultural integration. While the company's digital-first ethos enabled remote collaboration during previous global events, the establishment of new physical hubs necessitates a new approach to hybrid work policies. Facilities design teams will create office and fulfillment spaces that reflect a synthesis of Amazon's leadership principles and local work cultures, including communal areas, innovation labs, and modular workstations that can accommodate a variety of collaboration styles. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs will be tailored to each region's demographic realities, ensuring that the workforce reflects and values the communities it serves. Marketing and public relations efforts must consider the sensitivity that comes with relocating a corporate flagship. Neighbors in Seattle and Arlington mourn the loss of one of their most influential employers, while the new host country celebrates its arrival as proof of its economic potential. Amazon's communication strategy will strike a balance between empathy and excitement, recognizing the emotional weight on U.S. employees and communities while articulating the strategic rationale driving growth and customer benefits. Town hall meetings, press briefings, and digital outreach campaigns will weave a story that connects Amazon's global ambitions to its long-standing commitment to customer-centered innovation. In terms of innovation ecosystems, Amazon's shift hastens the evolution of global technology clusters. The regions that host the company's new headquarters will experience spillover effects. Startup incubators benefit from Amazon's mentorship. Venture capital is attracted by the proximity to the tech giant's talent pool, and university spin-offs are scaling faster with corporate partnerships. Markets that lose Amazon's direct presence may pursue revitalization initiatives, attempting to diversify their economic base by cultivating homegrown tech champions and complementary industries such as biotechnology or clean energy. Amazon's move has significant geopolitical implications. In an era of shifting alliances and trade realignments, the Relocation acts as a barometer for global relations. Host governments gain not only investment but also leverage in diplomatic discussions, emphasizing their importance as key nodes in the global digital economy. In turn, the United States must deal with the diplomatic fallout of altered corporate footprints, possibly reevaluating its trade postures and negotiating new frameworks to retain the participation of multinational corporations. All of these transformations take place against the backdrop of shifting consumer expectations. Customers worldwide expect faster delivery, seamless digital experiences, and ethical business practices. Amazon's ability to leverage its size and technological prowess in a newly diversified operational model will be critical to retaining customer loyalty. Innovative solutions such as drone-based last-mile delivery and AI-powered personalization platforms will be tested and refined in the new host markets before being implemented globally. Success in these areas could help Amazon maintain its reputation as an industry leader even as it navigates the complexities of multi-jurisdictional operations. Beyond operational and market considerations, Amazon's shift necessitates a reassessment of its cybersecurity strategy. With data centers and networks spread across multiple jurisdictions, the company must strengthen its defenses against region-specific cyber threats while also meeting varying national infrastructure resilience standards. Joint exercises with local cybersecurity agencies, as well as participation in international security consortiums, have become critical for protecting customer data and providing uninterrupted service. Amazon's customer service model will evolve to accommodate linguistic diversity and localized support channels. Call centers will be set up in multiple time zones, staffed by representatives fluent in regional dialects and trained to navigate cultural nuances and dispute resolution. AI-powered chatbots, which were previously tailored primarily to English-speaking markets, will be enhanced with multilingual natural language processing capabilities to ensure prompt, empathetic assistance around the world. In preparation for future technological breakthroughs, Amazon will increase its investment in emerging fields such as quantum computing and blockchain logistics. Research collaborations with host country innovation institutes aim to speed up proof-of-concept trials, putting Amazon at the forefront of next-generation computing and decentralized supply chain tracking. Such collaborations not only drive product and service improvements, but also foster scientific talent pipelines, which are critical for long-term competitiveness. Finally, as part of its philanthropic evolution, Amazon's foundation will refocus grant-making to address global challenges exacerbated by its relocation, such as digital inclusion initiatives, cross-border educational exchanges, and health equity programs in underserved areas. By aligning social impact strategies with the company's broader global footprint, Amazon hopes to leave a legacy of shared prosperity that goes beyond commercial success, reinforcing its role as a catalyst for positive change in every region it serves. If you liked the video, please like it and subscribe to our channel. Also, Could you please leave us a comment below? What are your thoughts on Amazon leaving the United States following Trump's new trade tariffs? We want to hear from you.